All right. So are you applying to anything like specific, or is it like are you looking for grad school or?
So basically,
First of all, what did you have to go through?
well, maybe possibly grad school.
Okay.
I think just in general, like
General, just having a solid resume just in case you need it.
Yeah.
Awesome. But nothing like specific on the horizon.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it would probably be maybe grad school, but like I could maybe like be looking for a job
Right.
as well or something like that.
And you're coming. And you're gonna. You know about the STEM fair coming up, right?
Yeah, I heard about that today. The only thing I've heard is that they don't really have as many bio kind of.
Really?
Yeah, I heard
Okay.
that there's.
Did you take a
more,
look on Handshake? You can see the employers.
the employers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show you how to take a look at that so you can see if it's relevant or not for you.
Yeah,
Um,
because I'd probably be looking for like maybe a biochemistry company or like a
right.
biology.
Yeah. I'm not sure of the companies who come in, but we'll take a look at that after.
Okay.
And I can show you also if there is a company you're interested. We can kind of look at some of the people who are going to be there, and you can kind of do some research on them and stuff.
Okay. So yeah, it's very. So basically, what I've kind of done is like. But like my name, like my address, phone number, email. I have like my education. A lot of stuff is like a lot of summer jobs, and I haven't started with my career, so I do have my oldest first. So I probably would have to change that. But basically, like just all the jobs I worked at, to like my most like recent one.
Right.
I kind of like have it separate. I don't know if it's like there's like a specific like kind of way of organizing it.
Yes, there is, and we'll do that right now.
Okay, because like I have like the names, like I have all the information I think needed. I have like my volunteer experience, like my shadow experience, and then just like my references.
Awesome.
So
All right, so this is what we're going to do. So save this
okay,
and open up a new Word document. And what we're going to do is we're going to transfer all this stuff into a new Word document and kind of format it differently.
okay,
So how it works for a bio major, where it's different from like a business major. A business major is going to be one resume, and there's a couple sections that are concrete. It's a little different for a bio major. It's actually allowed to be more than one page, and that's just because you're going to have, and I'm not sure if you do have this or you don't have this, but usually typically you'll have like a research section, or you did shadowing,
okay,
right, or something like that,
yeah,
or like field experience, right, or something like that, and you'll have different sections for that. So yeah, open that up, and I'm going to pull up a template right here that we have for the Career Center, and then we'll kind of just go section by section, make sure it's formatted correctly, and then we'll go from there.
oh great,
No problem. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is just have your name in top in bold.
Does it matter like what?
Yeah, so I would go, so first things first, go to layout,
Okay.
go to margins, and go to narrow.
Okay.
And then I would go center it, so just go like home in the middle, yep, and then do maybe in like a 16 or 18 font in Times New Roman, your name in bold.
Okay.
And those are also things.
So what is it
It's
called?
really, it has to do with spacing too. So once you put the information, Main Street. So then you're gonna want to put
So put the Kansas State.
email.
Love
Awesome. And then I would hit, and then just hit enter, and just like this, you're gonna just want to put your address, email. Also for you, you may want to be for your email, you may not want to put your school email since you'll be losing your Loyola email after graduation.
Yeah.
So you might want to put like a personal Gmail.
Okay.
That's up to you for now. If it makes sense for you to now put your Loyola email, then keep it. But obviously you're gonna switch it after that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it goes away after you graduate.
Yeah,
It does?
I'm not sure how long you get it after you graduate, but I'm pretty sure at some
And then
point
you
it
just
expires.
again
Okay.
enter board member.
I'll just put, because like, what if I wanted to create like a completely new one, like after I graduated? Could I mean, I'll probably, you know what? I'll put, because like one of the other, because I usually just use my Loyola one, but the one that I've used in the past kind of has a lot of spam in it now.
Right.
So like, I don't know if I think I'll just do my Loyola one
Yeah,
first.
that's fine for right now. And then I would say put that probably in like a 10 font.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can center that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna abandon our bullets for now and just set up the rest of it so you can go back in.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm letting you fly on your own.
All right. Thank you.
And you can make the.
Okay. So now we're gonna go to our.
And you can do whatever you want. If you want to separate it with a bullet, or you want to use like one of these, like shift this and do like a line,
So.
it's however you want to do it.
Okay.
You
So
can
like
do a small
like that.
Just make
Like
sure.
Or
a-
check this out, like one of these.
October is on the same line as Eagle Scout.
Like
Oh,
On
okay.
this
Yeah.
line, but up here,
Okay.
you know.
Then you can put like a space between it and the next one.
So keep it on
Yeah, exactly.
either this
That and
line or
space,
this
yeah.
line. Yeah, save.
And then you can do, then you have your email, your address. You can either put Loyola address or your home address. I would think it probably makes more sense to put your home address. Some students like to put both. I think the only real advantage you're doing by giving your Loyola address is giving them your mail stuff. If you wanted to mail them anything, but that's not important, then I would just leave both.
Okay.
And then your phone number. Do you have a LinkedIn?
I do not actually. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm a little.
Yeah, it might. I mean, like, I think LinkedIn is even important for a bio major. I know it's like very, usually for business majors, it's so much like essential. But I think even for a bio major, to have a LinkedIn is good. So once you have a LinkedIn, just create your LinkedIn link and you can put it up there as well.
Oh, great.
Next thing I would do. So the next section you're gonna have, your first section is gonna be education, and you can actually delete the space that's between these two. Like, so that's we can create more space at the bottom now. Perfect. Yeah. Exactly.
And then just remember
And then we're gonna have an education section. So probably I would say maybe you're gonna want to have maybe 12 or 11.5 throughout this whole document.
Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of choose which one you want based on like spacing, but all bold, all caps, education.
And then off to the side on the margin.
Yep. And then you can hit enter, and then hit this button right here.
Right here?
Yep. And then you can double click under here.
No, I think it's like
Yep. And then you're just going to do Loyola University, Maryland, School of Arts and Sciences, bold.
So it'd be the same font as this.
Yeah.
So for these also, I did.
It doesn't need to be all caps.
Because you still work there, you want to make sure this is in the resume.
Okay.
So it seems like all of your activities are present.
So it'd be like
School of Arts and Sciences.
Just make sure they're all in the
Also,
resume.
you can just have expected May 2021.
And then I would just do Baltimore, Maryland.
You can just type out.
Perfect. I'm gonna show you a quick word trick. So if you have your or let's say let's say you have your school, right, which is Loyola, and you want to put the dates over here. A lot of people just like tab it out, just double click, and then we can do the dates like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so just if you move your cursor like over there to the
We're
left,
gonna make our last
and then
section
double
about
click.
publications.
Yep, there
I
you go.
didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, and then you just do expected May 2018 or May 2019. I'm sorry. And then you can hit enter. And let's go back to the template. So then you're gonna want to have Bachelor of Science in Biology. And yeah, that's exactly italics. I think it's of science, right? Bachelor of Science.
And that's in italics, that matter.
That's a preference thing.
Okay.
It just kind of separates.
So now you're gonna
And
want
you
to
can just have major. That's fine. Bachelor of Science in Biology. That works.
Okay.
And you don't have a minor, right? It's just
Yeah, just bio.
Okay. And then your overall GPA. Some people like
So
to
we're
put the
gonna start
departmental
with
GPA if
review
it's
book.
significantly higher, but that's up to you.
Okay. I might have to double check that later.
Okay. Yep. So that'll go in there, and then under that you're gonna have like any honors and awards.
So just
This can
whatever
range
the
from
name
anything from
of
Dean's
the
List
anthology
to
works.
presidential scholarships to any honor societies you're part of on
Okay.
campus. Any awards, like I said, yeah, presidential stuff like that.
Okay.
And then let's see, and then some people like to put abroad, or they like to put their high school. So usually the only reason I would put high school, and especially as a senior, I would leave high school off your resume. But the only reason I would really keep it is for the sake of saying, like, let's say you're applying to, I don't know, some bio. What you say you were in biochem, right? Firms you're looking at. Let's say there's a biochem firm you're applying to, and there was a connection within your high school, or it's a reputable high school in the area. Then maybe it makes sense. But otherwise, if it, let's say you're applying in New York, right, and your high school was in Maryland, it doesn't really make sense. And then I know it's going to take up space that could be used for something better, right?
Okay.
So I would say, just be careful with high school. And then besides that, the next thing I would say is any study abroad, and then after that concludes education, and we can move into work
Okay.
experience.
So I could probably put what I do, like, because I did go study abroad. So like.
Yeah, so basically the way you would do study abroad is you would just add it as just like how you would have Loyola up here, you would just
Oh,
add
okay.
as like another line.
Oh. Okay.
And you could just say let's say you went to Ireland, like University of Cork,
Oh,
or
okay.
whatever it is.
So I went to
Newcastle, yeah, so you could put it.
and then it was Newcastle Fontine.
Yeah.
So then,
Well, yeah, I have scholarship.
Oh, UK. But I'll fix that later.
Yeah, and then you can just put like the dates that you went, like on the
Okay.
right again, like how I showed you, and then right, yeah, exactly. Just do like
I think it was
the
January.
name of the scholarship, if you have a scholarship.
I remember being January to May, I think.
Okay.
So it'd be like May, like of 2018.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Great.
And then, like, wherever
Yep,
it's
and then that's
published.
perfect. And then you can write a new section called work experience, and then we'll do the line again.
Okay.
Excuse me, but
You'll go all caps in this. Yep.
So, You don't have to specify college activities and college activities. You can have I separate it and column is separated by work experience, actually done activities.
Alright.
Perfect. And then if you can, and then I guess we can kind of go back to your old resume, maybe like take some of the stuff that you wrote,
Okay.
and then we can figure that out. So basically, how it works to show you work experience from this template, you're just gonna have your company that you work for in bold, the location next to it, along with the dates. And then you're going to have your position italics under that with some bullet points. Usually for work experiences, we say 3 to 4 bullet points. And you just want to make sure you describe what you've done. If it's something you do currently, like in the present, it's going to be in present tense. So like for this, right, if it's present, it's going to be like analyze, right?
Okay.
But like if you were, let's say this was in the past tense, like it ended in 2017,
Okay.
then you would just do analyzed, right?
Okay.
So if it's something you currently do present tense, it's not. And then the way it works in terms of how you want to order it is from it's reverse chronological order. So things you've done most currently to in the past. Does that make sense?
So most currently, because like
So like for example, like this, these are all present. So this person could, what they could do is they could order it any way they want.
oh, so it doesn't matter because it's present.
Everything's present. But let's say this ended in 2017, this ended in 2018, and this was present.
Uh-huh.
Then the order would completely flip.
Present, like 2000.
Present 18, 17.
Okay.
That makes sense. So it's by when you ended it, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna write a note because I'll probably reorganize it.
Okay.
So like
But yeah, so then
Just
if
gonna
you
make it, like,
want to
some
cite
template.
any
So-
Okay.
specific articles that you've written for
or title.
I have a few like so like I have like
Just like
Yeah.
So.
I can also, what I can do is I can send you this at the end of the appointment.
Oh yeah, okay, then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So just like I'll probably add those in later. The thing is that like I have a lot of stuff from like a long time ago. Like
Right.
we're talking like 2012. Like
So
when
yeah,
I
what
was,
I
like,
want you to do,
very,
yeah. So what I want you to do for me now is just kind of walk me through like some of the stuff that you've done from work experience, and then is there anything like bio-related stuff that you
Yeah,
have?
absolutely. There's this one thing I did this summer, which was like I worked as a temporary like bio. I worked at a bio company, like
Awesome.
you know, and stuff
Okay.
like that. So that I really want to like emphasize because I learned
Yes.
a lot from that. But
And you did that this past summer, so it could
Yeah.
be the first thing maybe in work experience, probably, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
fight global hunger and world poverty.
And then did you also? I saw you had shadowing
There's
experience,
actually a
right?
bunch
Yeah, so that was
So
like
that you could make as a separate section. Maybe
Okay.
maybe we can call it
But
research,
it's a
Okay, yeah.
and something like that, and then we can make a separate section.
okay.
So yeah, that's okay. That sounds good. And then you have references.
Mhm.
Unless usually you don't put references on a
Oh,
resume.
okay, so you don't have to.
Yeah, just because.
Those tend to change, maybe. Or
Well,
like...
the thing is, like, if they want references, they're gonna ask you.
Oh, okay.
So, like, in that sense, like, it's unnecessary to put on the resume because they'll just ask you for it and then you can give it to them.
Okay.
So
So.
yeah. So what I would say is let's just do one of your work experiences. Let's do the most important one. Let's take the bio one,
Okay.
and let's just format that here, and then you can just go off that.
Okay, great. So. it can be-
So yeah, you're gonna do the name of the company in bold.
yeah, I'd love to like start building like a verifiable portfolio.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just
Yeah,
you know.
so that's something that they do a lot of stuff like, you know, 5 ways that developing technology is helping end water
Awesome.
insecurity and whatnot. You know, stuff like
And just
that.
make sure this is unbolded, 'cause-
Yeah, so it's
and this one as well, because you just want to be consistent when you go throughout this. That like all the locations are
Oh,
either
okay.
bolded or unbolded. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Some people actually care about that and look at that, and they
Wow,
want to see like
yeah.
consistency and stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the names.
Yeah, and then the dates next to that you've done it. And it was just last summer, right? So it'd be like May or like right, June 2018.
I was only because I came back.
Okay, here you go.
And if you plan on like sticking with them, you can say present. Like for example, if you're gonna go back there, you can say
Yeah,
present.
I'm not 100% sure yet.
Then you
so-
can just say you ended that. That's fine. And then
Yeah, that's who
right under that, you're just gonna want an italics. So you were an intern, right?
Yeah, well, I wasn't intern. I was like
So-
a production.
No,
I did some of the
this is for
job.
loyal
Okay.
ones.
It was more of a
Yeah.
job, but like I learned.
that probably means
I thought it was very helpful.
I definitely did.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So now you're just gonna want to say like have like 3 to 4 bullet points, kind of outlining what you've done. It seems like you've already done that.
Yeah, so I kind of
So let me
had
see what you
like.
have here. So work does it.
It was a very interesting job. So if you're wondering why I wrote that, I
Yeah.
can explain it. Yeah.
Okay, so is this more like marine biology kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a little bit, but like it was just good for anything because
That's
this
cool.
this also the whole processing, like it's a company, so it's like kind of a business company, but what they're doing is they sell it to places like to like medical facilities to like test like medical equipment or vaccine stuff like that.
So are they selling medical equipment?
No, not selling medical equipment. They sell this product that tests medical equipment for like endotoxins as well as
I see. Okay.
as well as like flu shots. Anything that's like injectables.
Alright.
So.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a great experience. I think so. Let's take everything that you have there and put it into four bullet points. Because I think you have some great experience. So yeah, you can copy paste that onto this one,
Okay.
and we can kind of break it down into bullet points.
Submitting an article every 2 weeks, basically.
So I can just kind of let's do this.
Alright.
I guess that's how that works. We have another.
And then just change the all the what's it called
Once you fill it in,
font
yeah.
2 times 0.
You also like kind of want.
Okay, so then delete research internship.
Yeah.
Um,
And if it looks
Oh,
like,
sorry, up at the top there.
if you think that it looks like there's too much white space at the bottom, you can always change the margins back.
And then you're gonna have
Yeah.
University of Maryland. And then
it'll
you'll have
definitely like
dash.
I want to do
So
better.
you're gonna
Okay.
remove the college.
So-
and then you're gonna put
It's like
Um,
ultra finance and gas major for like
do a
hours.
dash.
So the first one, it sounds like you're talking about something technical, and then trying to tie in your team building skills. So I would just say something along the lines of like
Alright, yeah, but
accentuated
No, I
like
get
my
it.
team building skills by
No.
processing.
Okay, accentuated.
It might be easier to just make someone up top.
My team building
No,
skills.
no.
I would say take out mine, just do team building skills.
Okay.
Yeah, so no my's and I's in resumes usually.
Okay.
By collecting. By collecting, you can take it out
Yeah,
and
yeah, it really
and
does
collecting the
differ
initial
at schools,
processing
so like
portion.
biology majors,
Yeah,
if they're
perfect.
alignments or
Um,
their social majors, like stuff like that,
Okay,
you know.
so
Or you know skills.
Yeah,
A lot of
you guys-
writers have to get to that level.
What kind of
where
skills?
you have the
Um,
curriculum instead of
Analytical skills.
resume.
Yeah.
You're-
Okay, yeah, analytical
another
skills.
Yeah.
another
I
dash
think
and then
that my way out of my program, honestly,
Okay.
where you one day, but like,
Mhm.
I kind of want both.
Yeah.
I want a resume with like some sort of like
Experience.
experience.
Utilize analytical skills.
No, I got it. Sorry.
And
So
something
you have
that
college partner Maryland.
So
No, I think that's really smart. You should also look into professional rating. Is important.
You utilized analytical skills and collaborative
And it has a
skills.
service learning
Okay.
aspect. Because
Flowers.
I don't know
Yeah,
if you have you ever
collaborative
heard
skills,
of the
and then take out
100
working in a
cuts?
team.
It's kind of a long.
Okay, so
So
it's
that's how collaborative
basically
skills
like
as
this
well.
thing that happens.
So what we can do is actually change.
So,
Yeah,
I know, it's kind of like
a
inside.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I did it, and it doesn't have to be
You'll
like
have to move.
numerical.
Alright, so here's the thing. So, let's. So, okay. So I definitely want to talk about your technical skills with IS 07.
IS 07,
right, and then-
So basically, like,
So-
you know, different level. Okay, yeah.
So after lab settings, hit enter,
Because I ended up winning, so I.
and let's make this a bullet point first, and then we'll move on to the next
So
one.
it's stuff like that.
So utilize analytical
So
skills and
even if
collaborative
you
skills.
did like something about like,
Um,
if you wanted to write about
Worked
stream
in
heat,
ISO 7, ISO 8 clean rooms.
Yeah.
That could be something that could be submitted.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Delete it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah, but
just
no,
start
Or like
typing.
better business.
'Cause
practices,
basically,
that's something
Yeah.
that could be-
When you
Yeah.
work in these kind of like areas and stuff like that.
no, it's a good skill to have. Yeah.
Yeah, because basically, like, you had to learn how to, like, put on stuff, like, especially in ISO 7, like, you have to make sure when you walk into that room,
Which is,
like, that you have, like, you're not bringing any
Right.
germs, so that was
Exactly.
something I learned, like,
Yeah. So you may
like,
want to.
double gloving,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, so,
So you may want to say instead of worked, because maybe you want to say like gain familiarity
Okay.
with working
Or
in
when you
Yeah.
start thinking about your cover letter, this is something that I always use.
ISO 7,
Just
ISO 8.
because there's spacing
Clean rooms,
over that side.
right, perfect. And then let's fix that second bullet point. Utilize analytical skills and collaborative skills
And then you're gonna test
as well as
over
individually in our labs.
because this was actually something that, because when I worked at this job, like that, I asked him, like, how can I, like, produce this in the resume, this is what he gave me, so
Right.
it wasn't actually what I wrote, like, I just kind of
Right.
took what he wrote, because he was
Yes.
able to, like, spin it, so
Okay.
that was, he
Perfect.
thought was a good way, but I don't know, probably just other ways I can write it.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say something along the lines of like talk about. Okay, so when you say
in
And
the
what
lab,
I
like
see a lot is a lot of people are like,
Eli,
you know,
talk about something specific here. Like I like how specific you were in the
Okay.
first bullet point. Be like specific again here, saying something like
Okay.
utilize analytical skills and collaborative skills
So like, what do you
to do what within the lab setting?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like to prepare the lab setting to
So that's really what the Reader Center
trying to
duty
think,
does.
because,
Is
like,
make sure
basically,
that you're always catering
This is
to
summer, but like I'm
what
just
Yeah.
trying to like think of what it is.
Exactly,
It's like, because basically there was one way to describe it. Because it's a very interesting job, but like it's
Yeah.
also like
Yeah, you can have
So
a
if you wanted to
different.
Right.
So
Right.
like
that,
I would actually be
It's
in the
wildly
processing
separate
of
from
like
the-
collecting the blood. So like I would actually take the blood scratch and leave them.
There
Right.
you go.
That sort of
It's
thing.
awesome.
So like kind of working like individually was like I had a whole station
2018 to August
and
2018.
being taught like how to collect the blood. I would individually
You're welcome. I'm sorry.
collect
that
the blood from each crowd and be able to like cover it and stuff like that. And then
Right.
like it was, I mean like again some of the stuff was interesting. A lot of the other
Yeah,
things I
studied
did
around
were
Copenhagen.
maybe not as scientific, but like I'm trying to like
Right.
convey it that way because like I think it was the fact that I was working in this kind of setting was like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
was also really
Okay.
was a great experience.
Right.
So
You're welcome.
Okay.
Let me know how it
I'm
goes.
just trying to think of little skills because like I wouldn't necessarily say analytical because like I was
For the bullet points, you're gonna want to start with action verbs.
yeah I know what you're trying to say like
Or
more
not, or
specific.
maybe not analytical skills, but maybe I think what you're trying to come across is saying like a lot of the technical skills. So maybe you want to say like
Yeah,
utilize
technical skills, utilize technical skills, because that's really what it was. Because like
Right.
you know,
to help to help increase the productivity of the
Yeah.
lab or something like that.
The
Right?
purpose of the bullet
Yeah.
points is to show people things that you
Of the
did there.
it was a lab, but yeah, of the
So what kind of things?
or like the of the labs, what like their goals, their the productivity. Not you wouldn't say the productivity of their goals, but like the productivity of their
virus collecting
research?
Yeah.
productivity of the research.
And then reassembling
Yeah.
it to test it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Test your tool.
Okay,
So-
perfect. And then let's talk about that. And then
Action verbs. And then this is also something you can get
prepping
on
materials
our,
for.
the resources tab on the
Let's combine the last. So not this one. So but these three. Let's combine them.
okay.
So
if anything's ever coming out to
That.
so saying something along the line of because it sounds like this is something you did daily, probably, right?
Yeah.
So maybe say
do day-to-day research, you had to
I would just start it with on a daily
manage
basis,
the
on a daily basis or something like that. Like
sheets and things. I don't know exactly how many people.
I mean, like I wouldn't always be doing it daily because like we switched around. So like some
Okay.
days I would be doing
on a
it
routine basis.
on a routine, yeah.
about
on a
things
routine.
you've done, especially if that's because that seems like one of the most applicable
RO.
things that you'll have on your resume to be able to talk to employers about. So those bullet points are kind of things that
Materials
they
for
can learn from
foundation,
what you've done. So you can talk about skills
Prep materials on a routine basis. I'm sorry.
that will
Okay.
make you
That sounds better.
a viable candidate. Just think about things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just
Routine
develop
basis
those
for
bullet
yep.
points. The next work experience.
And then take out routine again, and then put
Is there
sanitation,
anything between
sanitation of the laboratories and
is
equipment.
Boy Scouts of America, would that be work experience?
like that.
No.
Okay.
That would be under the. I don't remember what you called it.
Let's actually combine these two, and then keep that as its own bullet point. Does that make sense? So
Which one?
we're gonna do
Extracurricular.
so like something along the line of practice the use of centuries of order. So yeah, so I would start a new bullet point, starting with this one, of practice the use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought maybe we should combine those top two, but let's do this one and this one instead.
Wait, so I'm sorry, because like, what do you?
Yeah. So like, just say so write practice, and then take this line and paste it here.
Like this one?
This one here, the use of
centrifuges.
centrifuges.
Oh, okay.
Chronological order. So since you're not doing Boy Scouts anymore, after this,
Practice use of
that was
centrifuges.
before. Okay, so let's format this then. Boy Scouts of America.
And a ref.
I don't have much experience.
FAB regulated, certified company, practice CGMP,
So what
I
we
might
did
have to ask
was,
what he means by that because
Okay.
because
But
they
that-
might be able to explain that.
but that I
So
think is a
Scouts of
solid.
America,
Okay.
I think
and
that
then
that's a
whatever
solid way to
the
describe
town
it. Now you have
city
a
was
solid
where
way to
Okay,
describe it.
yeah.
got the Eagle
Because it
Scout,
was because like
and then
I think that looks good.
almost
I
as if
agree.
it's
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just I think that's so you can kind of all your other ones you can go off this one.
Okay, great.
And then the other sections you're gonna want to have
Okay.
is and you can just like create them and then like
Yeah.
but
no, as like your position.
so I think the next one you're gonna have is probably shadowing experience or research experience.
Okay.
I'd probably call it research experience, but it's up to you.
Okay. I'd probably so research.
Research or shadowing? I mean, it's
It was
really
more shadowing, especially with the one I did back, because I was just observing. But
Right.
it was good experience because I could talk about
right.
like
So
what
yeah, so you can put
shadowing.
shadowing experience.
Still active and
And then the way, and then
So
you can
you
put the line again,
know.
and then the way
Eagle Scout?
that's going to be formatted is very
Okay, so you're
similar
Eagle Scout
to
for
this
life,
in the
right?
sense that it's going to have the
Yeah, so.
company's name in bold, right, and then you're going to have the location, and you're also going to have,
This guy
you're going to also have your italics, and then like the position that you were, but you also want to have your supervisor.
Okay.
So whoever your supervisor, whether you were shadowing,
Okay.
and then you kind of just outline, what you learned,
Okay.
how many hours, maybe a week you shadow them.
Okay.
I think that's also something that people put in the header as well. Have you ever seen that before on a resume? How that's because like I've seen like for example like when I meet with students who are bio or sometimes speech path, they'll do a lot of shadowing experience, and the way they have it formatted, maybe this is something you can
Scouts of
ask
America,
like someone within the bio program or like a staff member. Like they have like their supervisor's name, and they also have the hours that they did it, and they'll format it like within this. So for example, like if this was intern, above that they would have like hours per week and supervisor's name.
Move
Okay.
group underneath
So might have to remember how many hours because that was a while ago.
Oh.
So like,
And
but
make it
I could like think of
Eagle
it.
Scout.
Yeah, I mean you
troop.
can give like an
Estimate,
estimate,
yeah,
right? Like
okay.
it was either 48 hours a week or less probably, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then
So
move
let's
Arlington, Virginia in the date back up.
Maybe formatted the same way as that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I suppose you did like
I
that.
okay.
Okay. I have to write the address later on. I'm just gonna. Cause
Yeah,
I don't
so
really
however
have
you
it off
guys
the top of my head.
Okay.
And
That's
then
fine.
like just should I say like.
And then I would just do you don't have to write shadow because I think they're gonna know you were shadowing because
Yeah.
So I would just say supervisor colon
Right here.
and then after that like a semicolon,
And make sure there's a column
So,
for Arlington,
like
Virginia.
a
like
semicolon.
that.
Yep, and then hours per week.
Okay, so I'll just say like
And then
less than
on-
40
so
or
first,
like or I think it was
25 hours a week, or-
yeah I think that was it.
Again, for consistency, because that's kind of like the main thing in resumes.
Like that. Can I do
Yep,
that?
that's
Okay.
fine. Okay. Exactly. I think I'm pretty sure that's how it's formatted.
Okay.
And then on
I've
that line,
seen
you're
this
gonna
before.
put
And then yeah, just make sure that you have the dates over there that you did it.
do you have months for it?
Because
Okay. If you don't
Summer
have
2016, so I think it was. I'm just gonna say
same thing, you have to tab it over.
Yeah, it was
because it was like it wasn't like because this was like an hour and a half away from me, so like
Right.
I traveled there and stuff. But
Right.
okay, yeah.
And then you
Because basically what I do is like I would just watch him like check in with patients,
Right.
like basically like check on them, and then I actually got to go into the OR, which was kind of interesting. So I can talk
Awesome.
about that. But yeah,
Awesome.
but
That's great. Yeah, so definitely talk about that
Okay.
in detail and stuff like that. I think that'd be
Okay.
good for you. And that's really it for that. And just you can add that shadowing experience and
Yeah.
keep it there.
okay.
And then the next thing you're gonna want to have is so is there any other research experience that you've done while you've been on the
within
No, I
Scouts,
haven't actually.
Okay.
was it
That's
the
fine.
whole year?
Yeah.
Then I would put a section next for extracurricular activity
Okay.
and community service and stuff like that.
Okay. Because I did really do a lot of volunteering, which I
Which is
really
great. Yeah. So then you can talk about that in that section.
So activities
No, I would
like
keep them
like
in
that.
bullets
Yeah.
because the current position. Yeah, I would just keep them in the bullets
Okay.
because it seems like it's all
I can
additional.
spell.
to-
I'm like sorry. I'm like
No,
really
you're
tired
good. Don't worry
tonight.
about it. You're good.
Unless
good.
you want to make it like
I think in the bullets is fine, but in the apply to just.
And you can do / community service or something like that. You can kind of keep them in the same.
Yeah, I think so.
So this is really anything that you've done on campus so I can show you how it looks here. This resume is kind of full with experience and needed to keep it to a page, so it was just listed out.
Because you have to keep, yeah.
But feel free to take the need to just make them look exactly like this and add bullet points about it.
I mean,
Usually for those we say 1 to 2 bullet points instead of 3 to 4 for work experience.
Yeah,
And
so
what you're gonna want to talk
once
about
you
is just
start
kind of
as an office,
any leadership you might have in the club, or if you don't have leadership, talk about maybe what you've done, how you've
and then
contributed,
have specific things that you
while you're a part of the
that
club,
you're
something
part of,
along the lines of that.
so that you can have talk
Okay.
about that.
That makes sense.
Employer can-
And that's really it. And then there's a skills section, but for a bio major, I'm not sure how important that is unless you have certain certifications you want to highlight. Language skills, if you, I don't even think that's that
Yeah.
important. There might be some technical skills that you might
Yeah.
have within the lab.
That's
But
what I was thinking, because I might maybe I have to ask my advisor about
Mhm.
that, because I feel especially because I was pre-health,
Right.
most of during the time, and I took a lot of lab courses,
Right.
so I don't know if that would
right,
just doing a lot of they were directed, I would read something and do it, but the fact that I used a lot of different tools and stuff, I feel that would be
Right.
variety,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you want to
Like-
talk about all those skills and the certain proficiencies that you have with those skills,
Yeah.
feel free to make a skills session at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because the only thing I'm thinking is that a lot of the summer jobs I have, I don't really know if that's gonna be very helpful when it comes to a resume, unfortunately, because although I've worked a lot,
Right. I mean,
I
there
don't
are
know
probably
what
some
that-
things. There
okay.
are probably some transferable skills that you can bring out.
Okay.
So, for example, tell me a summer job that you think that wouldn't be relevant
that would not. Or,
Yeah. necessarily.
Probably in the food industry.
Panera Bread. Okay, so for example, there you're gonna want to talk about right. So you might come across that at first and say okay, maybe this doesn't have as relevant skills,
Yeah.
but you can bring them out, right? In the sense that you were talking to customers every day, so you
Mhm.
can talk about effective communication skills,
Yeah.
customer service,
Okay.
and any leadership. I bet you helped onboard some of the people there, right?
Yeah.
Or you were talking, or you were leading others who new employees and stuff like that. You can talk about leadership skills, and
Okay.
that's what they want to see. At the end of the day, everyone starts somewhere. So if you can have those concrete skills, and they can see how you, right, and then it's also impressive to see that you built from Panera Bread to do what you did this summer.
Yeah.
So I think they also find that impressive. So I would say
Okay.
don't feel oh, I don't want to put this on my resume.
Yeah.
I would say if you can fill it up and talk about it in a way that is relevant to what you're doing and
Mhm.
talks about your growth as a person, I would say it's
Okay.
relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and I also think it's also important because I did do a lot of in food industry, but then for 2 years I was really focused on retail and stuff, and I feel it's I just think it's important to have be in those two different realms, you know what I'm saying, because
Right.
one's food industry, that's different compared to trying to sell a t-shirt, which is
Right.
much more or selling a shirt or something like that, you know what I mean?
Exactly right.
Because I did, so I don't know.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think that looks good. So I would just say I'll send you some of these templates that we have. So I'll send you this,
Okay.
and then you can kind of just go off that. Were there any other questions that you had specifically about the resume or cover letters or whatever it
Oh,
might be?
because I don't even, for cover letters, is that kind of because I know what that is, but I've never really created one. So
Yeah, I can kind of run you through one really quickly,
Okay.
and show
I'll
you.
just put it underneath this.
And I can send you
Oh,
one as
okay,
well,
yeah, that'd be, yeah, because
So this is one where basically how they're formatted is you're just going to want to have the date, right? You're going to want to have the location of the firm that you're applying to,
okay,
and then dear whatever hiring manager, or if you know the name of the person, just say dear this person, right?
okay,
But if you don't, you're going to want to say dear company hiring manager, right?
okay,
And I think the most effective way to do these, and so a lot of people when they think about cover letters, they're all right, I'm just going to dump everything I've done in my entire life into one one page, and it just gets really cluttered, and you don't really know, the employer doesn't know what they're looking at the end of the day. They know you've done all these things, but they don't know necessarily what you've learned.
yeah,
So I think the most effective way to go about this is kind of start with an anecdote and tell that story.
okay,
So something along the lines of coming into freshman year at Loyola, I started getting really interested in bio for these reasons.
yeah,
Or if it wasn't that and it was something else, talk about why you got interested in bio, right?
okay, yeah,
And I saw no better, option to apply to maybe this firm because I was so interested in bio and they did exactly what I was interested in. And then for you, I would talk about what you did last summer
okay,
with the
Yeah.
with the lab you were working at, and
Okay.
talking specifically about the concrete skills that you used and the
Yeah.
technical skills that you were utilizing,
Okay.
and some of the the rooms that you were in and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But also talking about how why it was interesting, why you loved it, and what you did that was so important, and
Yeah.
how you helped the the higher ups and managers around you and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how you helped people in the lab and how you made like a positive contribution.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're going to talk about, right? And that's like the meat of it. And then you're going to want to say, I would like to continue my journey like into bio by utilizing the skills that I learned last summer.
Yeah,
So here are
okay.
some of the skills that I learned last summer. X, Y, and Z, and that's really relevant to this new job for these reasons.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's basically the idea. And thank you for taking the time. Sincerely, your name.
Okay, great. Okay.
And it's just like 3 paragraphs. I would say
Yeah.
don't make it 4 or make it more. I would say keep it to 1 page. Really, just want to see how you write.
Okay.
And if you can really take if you can give your resume life.
And then you're gonna
Yeah.
It's like, can you talk about these skills?
Like
What
in
have you
that part,
done?
yeah. So like you do like why this will help you that you did those things.
Right,
Okay. I
exactly.
hear what you're saying.
That's the
and
idea.
then the one thing, because I know you said like a resume for like graduate school. Like,
Mhm.
what would be the difference between that and say like I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to go through all because I know you helped me a
No,
lot. So yeah.
no, for grad school, honestly, it would look pretty similar. The thing is like I've usually seen, I've seen more for grad school. Like it'll usually for like a bio resume for like a grad school, like it'll be like a lot of pages. It
Mhm.
might be like I don't know, like 3 or 4 pages, and
Okay.
just and I've seen a lot of research experience and stuff like that. So I don't think it would be anything different necessarily, but you might want to ask your advisor
Okay.
about that and just kind of get their opinion on how you might want to structure it differently for grad school as opposed to like a job.
Okay.
The same way.
But I think it should. I think it should be the same.
Okay.
Like I don't think there's anything different. Sometimes for grad school they ask for a CV, which is a little different from a resume. Usually it's allowed to be longer, more than 1 page. So which yours can already be. So I would say just talk to your advisor and see what they advise. But I think it's pretty much the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great then. Okay. No, I think other than that, I don't think I have any. Oh, because I have one more question. Sorry.
Yeah. no problem.
Because I'm just taking on like if I had like a leadership role on
Mhm,
campus, like would I put that underneath extracurricular activities, or would that go in?
So if you want, what you can do is you can do extracurricular activities / leadership
Okay.
/ community service, or you can make a different section for. It depends on how much you have.
Yeah.
So if you have a whole ton of
No, I
experience.
just have one. Yeah. But,
Okay, so then you can do that, or you can make you can call this extracurricular activities and leadership, and then make a separate section for
For
community
community, I
service.
feel like that'd be better because I
Because
have a
it
lot
sounded
more
like you
for.
had community service,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so
Further explaining
So leadership, and then this would just be
community service, its own section.
activities
Okay.
that happened in your
I think that just works for you. So I
Yeah.
would say just go with that.
Okay.
and a good
Great.
good
Okay.
goal points to be
Yeah, and I would say that
balanced.
I'd say you can keep it in that order, and then if your last section you just want to do skills,
Around the same
I think
amount that you
that's-
do for your
Okay.
that works.
activities, just with
If you can just do me a favor, if you can just save both resumes, the this one and the one that you had previously,
Yeah.
and just send that to my
Okay,
email. Give me my
yeah.
email, and then in return I'll send you some of the
Alright,
templates that we
great.
have.